Hey,
Hey,
Jemele.
what's going on?
How's it going?
Hello. Good, good.
Hi, Jemele. Long time.
Yeah, fire up
Yeah.
friendly neighborhood race lady because I'm coming right there.
We're going right
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
there is people don't understand.
So much race.
There is a race war coming tonight.
Oh, the race war is we're hours away.
Yeah.
Put the countdown up. Put the countdown up.
Yeah. I'll explain the interaction that I had with Roy where he didn't want to just come out and say it. All right.
I mean, I didn't have to say it.
All right.
I didn't have to say it, Jamil.
Yeah.
It's there.
Roy's siding with Kim Mulkey tonight. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation I put myself in.
You know what? We started. I'm sorry, Lewis. I know you don't like that, but we started. Wait, Chris, fire up the friendly neighborhood race lady.
And Lamar.
It's time for your friendly neighborhood race lady.
We're good. Jemele, there is a huge race war going down tonight in America, and it's being played out on a basketball court that may or may not have the same size three-point lines. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Roy is going for LSU because I guess he's a big Kim Mulkey fan, and I think
God damn it, Mike.
I think I've pinpointed what's going on here. And I think it's going to become more and more clear on social media as the game goes on. I cited an example of what Bomani told me several years ago, which is there are certain boxing matches that I'm not invited to watch with his friends because he wants to be surrounded by a certain group of friends for those title fights. And I'm feeling like tonight is that night. Can you please speak to, as our friendly neighborhood race lady, what we're going to be witnessing when Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese do battle?
It's going down, everybody. We got white America, black America, middle America, like Southern America. It's so many different types of wars that are embedded in this basketball game. And Bo is right. Like we've seen it in not only in boxing, we've seen it in basketball. I mean, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. We all know what was at the sort of the underbelly of that. And speaking of Bomani, he brought out a recent example on his Twitter feed that was, kind of brought forth by another Twitter user, that this is UNLV Duke all over again. And I hadn't really thought about that. And I was like, as you know, to get people aware of the history, it's like, obviously back in the early 90s, when UNLV just absolutely smoked Duke by 30. And then you have the rematch where Duke won. You all of a sudden, I mean, I think for a lot of Black people, it felt like we had to kind of start over again as a race. Like, what just happened here?
Are the stakes that high tonight? Are the stakes that high that if Angel Reese loses to Caitlin Clark, you need to start over again as a race? And this is going to be a very funny aggregation for you.
I don't know that we have to necessarily start over, but it might have to be, it will be a Black people's meeting, an important one that will be called the next day, where we might have to put some things on the agenda and get it on the table. But that's how people are so emotionally invested in this, because not only, this is what makes this one maybe a little more unique than, say, a Duke UNLV, or even if you want to go back in time and say, a Joe Louis, Max Schmeling type of thing, or with a lot of the boxing matches that we've seen in recent history, is that you also have the gender dynamic that's at play here. And what everybody's sort of preconceived notions about how women are supposed to behave, whether it be Black women or white women. A lot of the digs that get thrown at Angel Reese is about behavior and policing how she behaves, and Flau'jae Johnson and Kim Mulkey about behavior. And like, no, they're not supposed to act this way. They're not supposed to be this brash. They're not supposed to be this bold. They're not supposed to get on the court and talk their shit. Like, they're not supposed to do these things, because this is not how we have idealized what women in a competitive sport, what that looks like. And I think another thing that kind of sort of inflames this even more is that we see that the criticism is often very one-sided. Caitlin Clark talks her shit. Caitlin Clark is demonstrative. Caitlin Clark, and in this way, I do compare it, in many ways I compare it to Steph, but also in this way as well, is that Steph Curry has a lot of flair and flamboyance to his game. Like, he can get into it, with people, and he's got the shimmy and all that, but people aren't bothered by that. Caitlin Clark is the same way. It's like, people aren't bothered by it because they're caught up in the narrative of, oh, here's this, wonderful, kind soul from the great state of Iowa representing middle America. So they put all these sort of, what happens in these sports race wars is everybody projects their own shit on the people coming and the people who are actually involved in the competitiveness of it, who have nothing to do with any of this. Some of it is media driven, some of it is personally driven. But at the end of the day, what's on the line tonight is an opportunity to go to the Final Four. And that's all they care about. But everybody watching cares about other shit that has nothing to do with basketball.
Well, I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn into like a Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul situation where all Black America is just going to hang their head like, how could this happen?
I know. That's why I said I said it jokingly. And just so people know, I was joking when I said we'd have to start over.
No,
but
we might have to.
No.
Right.
Babylon B is already running with it. I'm sorry.
All right. Is that going to be the poll question? Do Black people have to start over if LSU wins tonight?
Put Jamel's name in that poll question, by the way. Do you agree with Jemele Hill when she says Black people may have to start over as a race?
Make my mentions look like a complete warpath, which would basically be called Tuesday, so it doesn't really matter. But no.
Go ahead.
I think what Roy said is kind of right, that there will be this sort of feeling of maybe not necessarily depression, but being let down. Because listen, let's just keep it real. If we're gonna go into the tricky waters of race, let's just dive right on in and not mess around with putting our toe in there. Is the reality is that in many ways, a lot of Black folks consider basketball to be our game. And certainly when you have, and even though, especially in the women's sport, where clearly there's a lot more, there's a lot of American-born white players that have played this game fantastically since it started being remotely relevant, and even before then, when it wasn't in women's basketball. The reality is that the sport is about half Black, and yet it's still very much considered our game. Just however you want to kind of quantify that. And so this idea that this phenomenon of Caitlin Clark, who many have already branded as the best women's basketball player ever, and that has met with some pushback because, the history of the sport suggests that's a very tough description to have for her, or really a lot of people, not just her, just because of the history of the game, is that to see her defeat a team like LSU that has been so good, the defending national champions. I think that there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of Black folks that might be calling in sick tomorrow.
Jemele's got a great new column at The Atlantic over Shohei Ohtani. Make sure to subscribe to her YouTube page, youtube.com/@itsJemelHill.
Yeah, Jemele, when I see Angel Reese, I automatically, at least a couple of years ago, thought back in the day to like Florence Griffith Joyner and to very, flamboyant, dominant, and probably talking athletes. We've seen it before, maybe not in this sport. It made me laugh when Angel had to basically explain to the media, hey, this is how sports work. Inside the lines, we might say things to each other, but we don't actually hate each other. Do you think that we're finally getting a clue of, hey, the women do this the way everybody else does this?
Yeah, and that's the interesting gender dynamic here, is that one of the reasons why I do like to see the demonstrativeness, not just from just her, but Caitlin Clark, and really a lot of the women's players who are at the top of the game right now, is because it's forcing the media and people, not just the media, but again, some of this is media driven. I mean, hello, that column by the LA Times, that, obviously that became, such a huge talker over the weekend, that played on a lot of these stereotypes. But there's this idea that women need to be more polite in their competitiveness. And, it reminds me kind of the same sort of things I hear about when it comes to hip hop beefs, right? Like Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, you name it, they can go at each other all day. And everybody, is like, I can't wait to see where somebody goes next. But when Cardi B does it, Nicki Minaj does it, Meg Thee Stallion does it, then it's like, wait, no, the women need to stick together. They need to be better. And so some of it is just about the conditioning of always thinking, even though it's not necessarily the case, it doesn't bear out, that women somehow have to be more elevated in their competitiveness and more moral in how they do it than the guys do. And it's like these women have been competing this way for a long time. Most of them had to grow up competing against boys and men. That was part of their socialization into the sport. So a lot of the behaviors they picked up from seeing men compete. And I just think it's just still shocking that in the year of our Beyonce of 2024, that people still think that women need to be more demure into how they handle themselves in these competitive environments.
Well, let's get to the Kim Mulkey of it all in this race and gender war. Jemele, you mentioned the column by the UCLA beat writer Ben Bolch. He said the quotes were in the column, "This isn't just a basketball game, it's a reckoning. Picking sides goes well beyond school allegiance. Do you prefer America's sweethearts or its dirty debutantes, milk and cookies or Louisiana hot sauce?" That gave Kim Mulkey a stand, something to stand on there. What do you think of all of it?
Yeah, and this was the reporter she should have been attacking. Okay, not Kent Babb from the Washington Post, but again, that's what I was talking about with it being media driven. It's like I'm sure you know who also should feel really insulted is UCLA. Like we got to be milk and cookies out here. Like that's what you think of us. Like we can't be something else that's a little spicier because that's an incredible team, and you know a lot of this. Giving Kim Mulkey a fight, as you know, giving her something to stand on is interesting because there are a lot of people who probably saw her, come after this column, and a lot of, the athletes did as well, which I think was warranted for sure. But then you find yourself having to agree with Kim Mulkey, and then there's a part of your soul that dies a little bit. But that's beside the point. But she was absolutely right, and I think as we see this latest explosion in women's basketball, because I think it's just on track to get even higher than it's already been. The media needs to also sort of come up a little higher too, and in terms of how women's sports are covered and how this particular sport is covered. Because listen, I don't want to be too hard on the writer in this sense. Is that listen, as writers, we've all written columns that we would love to take back. But it's just in today's age, that's just a lot more unforgiving because it's too much information. We should be better than that. I mean, we have been sort of in this fight, if you will, when you think about just how Black athletes versus white athletes used to be more prevalently characterized, period, where you had the white guy who was always his intellect and skill, or his intellect with the game was always very noteworthy. And they made it seem like a lot of Black athletes just hit the genetic lottery, and that's why they were able to ascend to the heights that they are. I thought we moved past that part of it, and this is just sort of an offshoot of that time where we really trafficked in these stereotypes that frankly did a disservice to the athletes who were actually competing.
I'm running short on time here, so 2 quick questions. Please try to keep your answers under a minute here. What do you make of where we've gone with college basketball and that Gino Auriemma's UConn are following this game, and they are a footnote, if that. No one is talking about Gino's UConn here because the sport has evolved to 2 marquee names doing battle. There are plenty of good players. You mentioned a bunch of them that are also playing on this, but this is because of that one moment, the You Can't See Me Tony Yayo moment. This is about Angel versus Caitlin Clark. What do you make of the sea change in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beautiful because I remember having to see 50 billion headlines that said, is UConn's dominance bad for women's basketball? And about how they were dragging down the sport because they were just so good. UConn hasn't won a national championship, I think, in 10 years. And that to me shows that this sport has grown appropriately. And I always said when they were dominating, listen, if you believe in women's basketball, believe in this athletes, you will invest and you will stop getting embarrassed. And that's exactly what happened. So sometimes you need a UConn to bring everybody else up. When I started covering women's basketball in 1997, it was unfathomable to think that Tennessee wouldn't dominate forever. And now you look at the different names in the field, the fact that you have NC State that is going to its first Final Four since 1998. A Final Four I covered. It was my first women's Final Four. When you see that Oregon State, I mean, obviously they were up against a juggernaut in South Carolina, but the fact that team and that program is in the mix now, it's many more names that are in it. USC has the #1 recruiting class coming in next year. This year they have Juju Watkins, who was the #1 high school player. So just imagine where they'll be in another year or two. Again, this sport is trending. It's been trending up for a while, but now I think you're going to get that sort of big lightning bolt experience. And part of the way you do it is that you have to build rivalries. You have to, in a way, build nonsense. Maybe you mix in a race war here or there, and then you're kind of off to the races.
Thank you for keeping that answer short. What's the best result for tonight?
The the best result, I think, is if, oh man, this is tough because I know a lot of people want to see Caitlin Clark really have another shot at winning the championship. But I'm not going to lie, man. I kind of want to see LSU South Carolina. Not going to lie. All right. So I want to say it's LSU because you kind of still need a villain, so to speak. And I don't consider them to be villainous, but they seem to be very comfortable wearing the quote unquote black hat. And I think having that presence at the Final Four, you have just as many people who root for them and just as many people who want to see them lose. So I'm going to say it's LSU. And to be honest, I think LSU is the better team. And plus, I ain't picking against my people. You know, I got things on the line myself.
See, it was that easy, right?
I can't.
Neighborhood race lady.
Thank you so much, Jemele. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube page. It's at It's Jemele Hill.
I am slightly concerned over the last couple of years as it relates to Stugotz and a habit that he has picked up. Another habit that he has picked up so that he can have action next to the action of daily scam action that he has every day.
Thank you.
He has developed, I believe, an addiction to these lotteries. He has got so many Mega Million tickets.
Yep.
He's got I don't understand why you're buying so many of them. I don't ever hear about you winning.
I have mega tickets. I have Powerball tickets. I drive around town to town. I'm not feeling good now. I drive around town to town, Dan. Here's the key to playing Powerball and playing Mega Millions. And I have Powerball tickets in my bag right now, but I have no idea if I won last night. We'll check during the show.
Ooh, geez.
But what I do is I drive around. I drive around the Midwest. I'm on a gummy. I'm in the passenger seat. I drive around the South. I'm on a gummy. I'm in a passenger seat. I drive around South Florida. I'm on a gummy. I'm in a passenger seat.
Wait, we got it.
And I try to scout out good locations where a winning lottery ticket would be sold.
I like this.
Thank you.
I like this idea because you don't buy winning lottery tickets at random places. There is a theme or a trend. It's never like, oh, I got it from Safeway. No one ever gets a winning lottery ticket from like a chain supermarket.
Right.
Stu, what are you running from?
What do you mean?
Why are you trying to get out? Why are you trying to get away? Why are you trying to play the lottery so much what are you trying to get out of?
They are.
What are you trying to
The
escape
winning
right
ticket,
now?
ladies and
I mean,
gentlemen.
it's over $1 billion right now.
1.2.
It's the ultimate end game. I'm with Stu. I love just the idea. Like, let me hit it one time. I'll still come to work, but let me just have the money.
No, you won't.
I will.
Is there a more done topic in all of radio and podcasting than if you win the lottery, what are you going to do? I feel like that is the number one conversation in the history of mankind.
Well, what would you do?
We've done it at least like 6 times just in the last year.
And it's
Right.
always
It's
fun. It never gets old. It never gets tired. It never gets boring.
But my fear is I'm going to have a winning ticket and be the one that loses the winning ticket because I have no idea where my tickets are. I mean, they're everywhere.
You need to do what my dad does.
I have them in my car right now.
Just stash them in the car. That's what my dad does. There's just a million of them from over a year. I don't even know if he checks the numbers. I think he just likes to fill out the Scantron.
You guys have friends that will be like, oh, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your money with this. One of my friends the other day was like, put that $10 in an IRA. And my other friend's retort was, that's not going to get me $1 billion in 40 years.
Is the other friend Priya?
Yes. Yeah. She's my Powerball ticket plug.
Yeah.
We have a Powerball pact. I've said it before on the show.
Yep.
She does all the Powerball Mega Millions purchasing. I will just get a cut. I don't do anything.
You just kick in.
No.
What? You don't even kick in?
If she asked me to, I would, but she's never asked.
Oh, Priya.
What a deal for you.
Yeah. We got to talk to Priya about that.
The final number last night was 15. And on my first sheet, I have a 15 as my final number.
I'm with Stugotz, though.
So close. Better
Just
buy
by
some
the way.
more.
I'm with Stugotz, though. You want to assess the gas station.
Yeah.
The way you do at a flight.
You have to.
Is this the one that goes down? You're assessing the people around? It's the
What?
same thing.
No, you know how I
Is
know?
this the Boeing?
You know how I assess it? I look in the mirror. I'm like, it's
I'm
not
on,
going down.
yeah.
We're good.
I always look around. I'm like, that person's not dying today. We're good.
Is Tony the backup pilot?
We're saying we're flying. Trust me, we are landing that thing.
What is happening? What is happening with the delusion that you will win this? That you know what a winning gas station looks
It
like.
has a look,
Potentially,
Dan.
yeah.
You know it when you see it.
Yeah.
I'd like for you to explain to me You guys are all nodding when he says, yes, I know, I look at a place and I know whether that looks like a place that would give away $1 billion. And I don't understand what any of you are talking about.
Allow me to explain, Dan. When I go out to get lottery tickets, my wife says, why don't you just go to the Publix right down the street in Parkland?
That's rookie move.
You want to know why I don't go there, Dan? Because that place is never going to generate the winning ticket. I go to Tamarack. That's where I go. I mean, I just drive around University Drive until I find something.
I'll give you 2 other places where I guarantee you will never get a winning ticket. Those automated machines, right? Like a vending machine? No. And then they've done this now. They've launched an app where you can play on your phone. I'm like, absolutely not. The winning ticket comes from a filled-out Scantron handed to a gas station clerk who's got grubby hands. Like their hands are all gray from all the dust and stuff. And then you also have to get something like a pack of cigarettes from behind them. That's where the winning ticket comes from.
It has to be a place where if you could picture it in a news story about where the winning ticket was purchased, you'd be like, wow, that seems like the BP in Tamarack. That seems like a place where they'd sell a winning ticket. You read it and it sounds legit.
Somewhere where the shifts are very defined, because when they sell the winning ticket, they're going to go there and interview the guy that sold it. And he's like, yeah, customers came in and I can't believe it's happened at my store. Because I think they get a bonus, don't they? I want to say that the place that sells the winning ticket gets a bonus.
What kind of bonus?
Like just
you want to say you just said it. Said it.
A little like thank
There's
you.
a bonus. There's a tip.
Instead
of going to education.
I think there is a bonus. Dan.
Instead of going to education, we're just going to give that lucky little gas station over on Levine. We're going to give them. we're going to break them off a little percentage that could go to the kids.
Something off the top.
You are right. I'm seeing bonus commissions for selling jackpot winning tickets. Like if you sell $5,000 for selling a $2 million winning ticket and $1,000 for selling $1 million winning ticket.
And then it goes
the
up.
vending machines, you're right. You're never going to get like $1 million out of one, but I've won a lot of money in scratch-offs from the vending machines.
What's a lot of money?
It's
scratch-offs
are a lot of money.
More than $100.
Really?
More than enough to pay
like
for my scratch-off habit.
To Amin's point, though, I don't trust anything electronic. That's the thing. It can give me something fake. Electronic roulette, please.
No.
Electronic blackjack, I know you're cheating.
Yeah.
Everything is cheating if it's electronic.
Because they can program it. They've actually done this in Vegas, where their big thing happened with the slot machines. Were all like programmed to make you lose.
Programmed to not win.
Yeah, to not win.
I agree.
There's a couple of things I do when I get my lottery tickets. I tell the person, I'm going to retire you if we win. Now, I'm not going to do it. I hope it's not binding. I hope there's no video. That's why you have to go to like a cheap gas station, because they don't have video, okay? But I always tell the person, hey, I win, you win, all right? You can buy this gas station. That's one thing I do. The other thing I do, I never fill out a sheet without the number 23. MJ.
Stugotz, please.
You don't
just real quick.
I think I won.
I will get to your superstitions and whatnot in a moment, but I don't know whether I've been off and everyone here is sick, and I don't actually know if Chris Cody was just doing an impersonation in my ear or whether I just heard delivered to all the appearance I had not discovered yet of a third Zagacki roaming around here. With his politics showing, and this third Zagacki is not as good as the first two Zagackis. But I appreciate. Are you telling me that while I was gone, a third Zagacki was born? And I think I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Jeremy trying to partake in a fourth Zagacki, and I am here for a future where I am surrounded by a chorus of clucking Zagackis.
You know what it means when you have 4 Zagackis, Dan? You don't have one.
I don't. We're there.
Here when you need me.
Did I just hear? Oh! That was Fleming.
My voice never cracks.
Like
the Constitution.
All right. Well, since we're moving into a serious place, I saw Ralph Nader get involved where he says sports betting is going to change all of professional and college sports. And you should know, like, we're right in the middle of all of these sports leagues are terrified of the gambling problems that approach as gambling floats the media industry and gambling pays for everything in sports. And we're going to now start moralizing about, I'm a little scared now if I'm Adam Silver, even though I've gotten into bed, as all of these leagues have, with everybody that's involved with gambling to help normalize it. And these leagues should be terrified of everything that's happening. America has a gambling problem, but it's lotto. but it's mega millions.
It's not a problem.
I feel like most people are gambling responsibly.
Well, I don't know what Stugotz is doing because, and I want Tony, I want you to elaborate on what your question to Stugotz is because you've got him up to something.
I've got him always up to something.
And to me, it's just a get rich quick scheme, the most cliched of them. Like he wants to spend a few $100 here in the hopes that he could be a billionaire.
It feels to me like the moment that a $1.2 billion ticket cashes in Stugotz's hands from the BP in Tamarack will be the last day that we ever see Stugotz ever again.
I don't know.
Ever.
No, I mean, here, yes.
Here.
But I think we'll see him on TV. I have the idea that Stugotz, because Dan says this all the time, Stugotz cannot stay away from a microphone. So the first month, sure, he's going to travel the world with his wife and kids. They're going to have fun. They're going to go on these exotic vacations.
He's doing that regardless.
He's going to play golf and some of the, yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah, so what he does now.
But at some point, he's going to get antsy, and he's going to want to be on with like Mikey C and friggin'
and Mikey A.
Mikey C,
and
Mikey
Mikey
G,
G.
and Mikey A, and
Yeah.
Mikey T.
The other Mikey G.
Mm-hmm.
and Bubba Watson and Java Chamberlain, all those guys.
My guys.
The other Gronk.
Yep.
They're all going to get together.
The other Gronk. Not Chris, Gord. Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're all Gronks to me.
I know.
There's the one that plays and then the other Gronk.
The wrong Gronk? Is that what you're saying? You're not even saying it's the other Gronk.
Not Gronk.
You're saying no, but you're not saying it's not Gronk. You're saying it's even second and third degree Gronk adjacent?
No, I'm saying that anyone who's not the Gronk that plays is just the other Gronk. They're all the
There's
same.
Rob, then there's Chris. I think it goes in this order, and then Gordy Gronkowski.
So there's
we love Gord.
This is what I just heard from you. There's Gronk, and then there's the other Gronk and the other
So
Gronk.
okay, all right. So so this is the third Gronk, is what you were saying.
They all work hard.
Yeah, I'm sure
I mean,
they
they're all
do.
the same. One just happens to be one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Birthing an economy of Gronks, famous Gronks to roam the land. All right, he's coming in high energy already. He's come. Why are you so high energy? I would think that you'd be despondent because your Knicks,
Get out of here.
Your Knicks lost to the Heat. They can't. No, wait a minute.
So?
Wait a minute, Mero.
Don't matter. It don't matter. We still turned up.
Okay, no, Mero, you can't. I don't understand what's happening here. I would think you'd be quieter after the Knicks come into town and Jalen Brunson looks inefficient and Miami's size looks like it's a problem for you. But you don't back down. You don't think that that's indicative of anything.
It is not indicative of anything, Dan. We've seen the Knicks throughout the season. We see, you can't win 82 games in the season. That's first of all. Second of all, the Knicks rather have taken a Yankees approach where it's not about the regular season anymore. Nobody cares about seeding. We're ready for anybody. We're ready for the Celtics. Whoever you put in front of us, it does not matter.
You are not.
So a simple loss to Jimmy and them. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, bro.
I would say it was a good loss. The Knicks were playing without some of their best players. They were still in the game very late in the game. Brunson having a bad game. They were still in the game on the road against the Heat. That is a good loss for the Knicks. Thank you.
Thank you. Listen, there's no such thing as moral victories, like Jay-Z said, but this is a moral victory. This is like, we can hang with any team in the East with one of our guys, and he's hobbled. Okay? OG's nowhere to be found. We're saving him for the playoffs. We're going to keep him on ice for the playoffs. I know I'm not official medical staff, but I am unofficial medical staff, and I can tell you in my heart, that's what's happening.
Okay.
Thank
keeping
you.
him on ice because we need him for the playoffs.
I'm bothered by something here, and I think the shipping container was bothered by the same thing.
Thank off here.
Yeah, you guys just thanking each other because you guys are the chemistry kings. You know how to make every environment work. Why are you saying thank you to each other over things that don't?
Stu is a very listen. You can't spell astute without Stu.
Thank you.
Okay. And that guy knows what he's talking about. Stu knows both.
Okay.
Come
my God, Dano.
Okay, I just got checkmated.
What's astute mean?
I cannot spell astute with that stew right in the middle of everything. Let me play Thibodeau at the end of the other night. Now, you know, my father calls him the butcher because he looks like somebody in another career who would look like a butcher. You can imagine him doing this in an apron with some blood on it. But this is very rare for him. This guy doesn't get into controversies, and at the end of this game, he's saying, no, Jalen Brunson, come on, let's referee him differently than we are.
It's that simple. He's getting fouled. 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 He's getting fouled.
That's about as controversial as anything he's ever said, isn't it? Like, he doesn't say controversial things.
He does not say controversial things. He's a very keep your head down, don't complain about the calls. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bark like an elephant seal when I'm upset. You know what I'm saying? But he's right. He's right. Jalen Brunson, listen, I know we talked about this last time I was on, and yo, you got a show with Carmelo, so you're like, yo, you're gonna act like you're not excited about Jalen Brunson versus Melo. That the connection here is this. Carmelo Anthony also never got those superstar whistles, even though he was a superstar. He did not get those calls. Jalen Brunson, we saw it last year in the playoffs against your Miami Heat. They had to go review him getting MMA elbowed in the face by Gabe Vincent, who is no longer a member of the Heat. They had to go review that.
I don't know what you just did there. What just happened there?
Reminding you.
I know, but he held the side of his nose and talked into his hand. What were you? Was that a secret you were telling somebody?
I'm just letting you know that Gabe Vincent is no longer on the Heat.
Heat fans don't actually watch the Heat games
in
during
case
the
you
regular
didn't know.
season.
Right?
Is that what he was
just in
doing?
case.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
That's just in case you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the roster. There's a lot of roster turnover. A lot of people that you don't know who they are. A lot of people who, when you play NBA 2K, there's no picture of them.
Like Highsmith. You hated Highsmith.
Hey, with Locksmith.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Jalen Brunson had no shot against him. He went 1 for 4 against him. And 0 for 4 against Bam. And 0 for 3 against Jimmy.
Locksmith.
Getting fouled out of here.
Not Highsmith.
Come on. Stop it, bro. They're beating Jalen Brunson down, bro. Look, it's the same thing. Look, I always make the Yankees and the Knicks comparisons. It's like Aaron Judge's strike zone. It's like, yo, the man has been in the league for like a decade, and you still don't know he's tall? You know what I mean? It's the same thing with JB, bro. He's 6 feet tall, dog. He's getting abused when he goes in the paint, but he's finishing strong because he is that guy.
Jalen Brunson is 4th in the league amongst point guards in free throws attempted. So
should be first, but he should be first.
Over Luka, Shea.
Exactly, Stu. There you go.
Thank you.
Like, hello?
Soulmates? Soulmates. You have found...
Come on, Stu Romero going on tour this summer. Yeah, get ready.
Okay, because...
the thank you tour.
You guys better yet...
We should thank each other.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias tour. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to crush it.
Okay. 2 languages. The thank you tour, and you just wander around the earth telling people thank you for what? for
Thank you.
Doesn't matter.
With me. Because I'm smart.
Okay. All right. This is I will warn both of you that that the Heat, the Knicks, they better win the championship this year because Wembanyama is going to win all the future ones.
We have a year left.
You got 1 year. Like, everybody better yell and get your arguments in now because what's happening over there, that's the worst form of it we're ever going to see. And it's like, oh, my God.
Dan, why do you think I'm so passionate now? Why do you think I came on the air playing Dembo at maximum volume? I'm extremely excited, and I'm willing the Knicks to a championship. Because like you said, after this year, it's Wembanyama season.
You better win it before Wembanyama gets to the playoffs because he's going to keep growing, and he's a bit of a spider, and nobody understands what to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah. If he gets to the weight room and the playoffs, it's over. Cancel the NBA. Okay? Let's call it the Wembanyama League.
Yeah. Did you see what he did to Jokic? Jokic comes out and he said, he blocked my first shot. And I'm like, you do that again, and I'm gonna. And then he did it 4 more times. And I'm like,
and then he did it 28 more times.
It's like my mind still can't comprehend Jokic, and now you're gonna tell me there's something extraterrestrial that now confuses him.
Listen. The moment I saw, like I said it last time, the moment I saw him on that breakaway dunk against the Celtics where he blocked the shot on one end, just basically pulled it out the air, ran like a baby giraffe on steroids all the way down the court, and just can you call it a dunk when you don't jump? You know what I'm saying? Like when you just float to the rim and place the ball inside the hoop. Like that's what he's doing, and nobody can stop it.
By the way, Jokic had 42 and 16 that night and won the game.
Understood. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Jokic is still out in front for now. Thank you, Stugotz.
The thank you tour.
Might drop 62 against the Celtics, bro. And Bird still took the W, so you know what I mean? This is what counts at the end. You know what I'm saying? The dub.
That's all that matters. I will tell the people again, because Carmelo and the kid Mero are doing something that's got a lot of chemistry in it, and he's bringing out the best Melo, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. There's a reason that Melo chose. Look, all of these guys who have Melo's power now can make the choices they want in this economy, in the podcast game, and there's a reason that he chose this guy to team up with on what it is they're doing. So I urge you to support 7 p.m. in Brooklyn as he continues to try out to be our Knicks correspondent. Have you gotten any feedback on your performances the other times you've been on? Do you feel like
everybody agrees, Dan? It's mine for the taking. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Eli Manning in the draft, yo. Like I pick where I want to go. You know what I'm saying? So if you want me, let it be known. You know what I'm saying? I know Stu wants me in the building.
Yeah.
If everybody else wants me in the building, I know Jess wants me in the building. Shot the lead. If anybody else wants me in the building, let me know. I'm here. The job is mine.
But Sam Morrell is somebody I want in the building. But his sardonic darkness, his fandom is really rooted in childhood. Really rooted. I don't know if yours is. I believe yours is rooted in adult business. No, your fandom. Yes, of course.
No, I don't want to cut you off there. This is your show. But let me speak. I claim my time. I have been a Knicks fan since the moment I exited my mom's uterus at St. Luke's Hospital in Harlem. You understand me? I have been a Knicks fan since my Uncle Gabe used to take me out to the playground and teach me the triple threat with Rex Specs on, because he played for Stony Brook when they were like D3. You know what I'm saying? I have been El Theo. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Theo Gabe. You know what I'm saying? Like he out here taught me hoops, taught me the game, and made me a Knicks fan since the days of Pat and Mace and John and X-Man and all those guys. I remember being in the 5th grade when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup, and they crossed. It said 1940 because they hadn't won since 1940. They crossed out the 1, they crossed out the 0. They had the 94 in the middle. They said, this is the Knicks year. It wasn't. But I've been a Knicks fan since before then. It's just been enhanced by my relationship with Melo.
Bona fides. Thank you.
How do you feel about Pat Riley then?
Stu.
How do you feel about Pat Riley? I didn't know it was.
He's a rat. Pat the rat.
Boom.
He left. He's a rat.
Thanks.
Get him out of here. Listen, there's a little bit of love, right? Because you can't have hate without love, right? They're the polar opposites of emotion, right? So at one point, I loved Pat Riley. I thought he was a genius. And then he turned out to be a fraudulent, backstabbing rat who is now doing what a lot of washed-up New Yorkers do and moving to Florida to live out their last days in the sun.
Wait, I did that. Thank you.
No, but to spend
I'm probably doing too. If I don't make enough money to buy half a DR, I'll see you down there in a couple of years.
But in that time though, buried 20 different versions of the Knicks. Like that's part of it. You're heartbroken still, right? It hurts to have someone to know that you had the basketball god. He could have done it for you, and you have never forgiven him and will never forgive him because he came and did it in Miami.
Listen. First of all, I thought you were talking about Michael Jordan for a second. No. Okay? He didn't do it in Miami, fam. He went to Miami. And maybe, I don't know. Maybe, okay, listen. All I know is that I think I saw his name in those Diddy files, all right? So that's all I'll say.
No, you've gone too far. No, you can't do that. No, that's ridiculous. No, this is totally reckless. You can't do that. No, you can't do that. That's unacceptable. No, I will not allow that. Look, we've got to have some.
There was a raid in L.A. and it was a raid in Miami.
No. Look,
there was no raid in New York.
You don't have any journalistic standards. You are not. You are just making.
I work for the Associated Press.
I want to get your expertise on a couple of things here because when we came in here today, Stugotz is claiming that he knows what what a lottery-winning gas station or bodega looks like. That he has it in his mind and he knows where to buy the winning tickets. And he thought that you would be good on this subject. He thought that you
100%. Thank you.
You and Stugotz are kindred spirits.
Come on. Titi sent me to the store many, many times to get 2 loose Marlboros and the lotto numbers.
A couple of Lucy's.
A couple of Lucy's and the lotto. Vete.
Okay.
Dan, this is my guy, man.
Right there.
Okay.
Right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shipping container.
Yes.
Take a good look at that deli and grocery, a.k.a. bodega. That one right there will win you a gazillion in Powerball. You know why? Because you can't even see through the front.
Yep.
You can't see through the glass. If you can't see through the glass at all, it's covered in pictures of sandwiches and cigarettes and Arizona iced tea cans. You're gonna win. You're gonna win there. If it's too clean and they got organic snacks, you're not gonna win there, bro. You're not gonna. You know what you do in there? You win the scratch offs there. That's where you win the scratch offs. It's $5 scratch off. You get $5 back.
Wait. Are you alleging that in the place in the gas station where they sell the sushi? No, you're not going to win anything big there. That is not what. No, that's you can't win it there.
You're going to max out at $20 on the scratch off.
They will put it in a place of bigger desperation. It has to look a little.
Yes.
It has to look a little. We're covering our windows for a reason. We don't want you to see.
There needs to be a front. Like that needs to be a front for something else. That's where you know it's good.
For K2.
I want to bring Tony in here, Stugotz, because I am told we have a Refran del Dia to play again, and this was very popular last time. The last time that we did it, so he's ready to do it. Let's go, Tony.
¡Va muerto!
Dímelo, mi gente. Tenemos el tigrazo, el único. The Kid Mero.
El tigrón.
El tigrón.
El más duro de todo lo duro. El papi de toda la lady.
Exactly right. El príncipe, el rey, el amor, el corazón, de todo.
Tu cielo, tu rey.
Muchas gracias, too. Coming very soon.
Latin Poppy. The swaggering Latin Poppy.
We have the wheel. Let's get to it. Oh, Mero, can you explain to the people what se rayó el disco means? Se rayó el disco.
Se rayó el disco. That is also an equivalent say to when my mom says, pusiste la nota discordante. You know what I'm saying? That's the part of the conversation, yo. Where you like, yo, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yo, your cousin is she's beautiful. She won Miss Hialeah last year. She's very pretty. Da-da-da-da-da. And then your other cousin goes, yeah, she's mad. Yo, we kissed in the 5th grade. And you're like, ya te digo, loco. ¿Qué fue?
All right, yes.
¿Qué pasó?
That is the record.
¿Qué pasó ahí, loco? Espérate. What do you say, my friend?
That is. And it's the record is scratched in the middle of a conversation.
Hold on.
No, but this is happening throughout the Latin community. The record is scratching throughout our community right now.
We also use it in a way of like, in a stutter, where you're like, draft crings. Oh, se rayó el disco. Algo se pasó ahí. No.
I want to ask you, I don't know, excuse me, I've got a $5 fine here, I think, because I can't get that out.
I got it.
Yeah. Straight to Jess.
Yes, the money does go straight to Jess.
Money. Dan's been out for a while.
Jess, baby. Just getting a Gel X this weekend, baby. You know what I'm saying? Y'all paying for that.
Thank you. I need one.
Look at this. I want you as an NBA aficionado to tell me where Malachi Flynn scoring 50 in an NBA basketball game for the Pistons off the bench, where it is that it ranks in terms of most amazing things you have ever seen to devalue the 50-point game.
Hey, look, I once watched, I believe it was Alonzo G drop 45 at the Garden. So, hey, look, and we're in the era of like everybody's dropping 70. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, a wonderful show, which I co-host alongside Carmelo Anthony, and we're talking about how it used to be averaging 25 points was like, yo, whoa, he's averaging 25. Now Malachi Flynn is averaging 25.
No, he's not. He's
You know what I'm
averaging he's averaging 5, and he's inflating it to 25 by putting in the occasional 50 off the bench.
50 burger in there out of nowhere. Listen, these games, they don't mean anything. Nothing means anything anymore, Dan, because there's always a stat for something. Every day somebody breaks a record. Malachi Flynn was the only player under 25 to score 50 points off the bench in Detroit on a Wednesday night in April. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's on Stat News right now all over your Twitter feed.
Meryl, lo que no saben la gente es que Malachi es dominicano, es primo tuyo, Malachi Smith.
Malachi, ese tigre, let me tell you something about Malachi. Malachi tenía un colmado allá en Santiago, and they realized that he had a jump shot, so they were like, loco, deja de estar vendiendo queso y maní, y vete a jugar
Vete para allá.
Vete para allá, para Detroit, para Michigan.
¿Para dónde?
Where is that? No Caribbean person knows where Detroit
Dominican
is.
people only know where.
Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, they don't know. They're like, yo, what is Michigan?
Mero, we will talk to you, buddy. Thank you for being on with us. I will tell the people again, he's got a new-ish show with Carmelo at 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. You can check out new episodes every Thursday on YouTube and wherever it is that you get your podcast. I've talked a lot for you on what it is that this is, but, why don't you tell us why it is that this is the project you've chosen to attach yourself to? Because you've gotten some tastes of some pretty good entertainment options, and this is the one that you've decided to dedicate your time to.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I'm an NBA aficionado. I enjoy the game. I love talking. I love just having those conversations. That's why I love coming on here. You know what I mean? Because it's just a vibe. We have a conversation. There's no like, hey, let's talk about this. Now switch to this. Now switch to this. Now switch to this. There's structure, but it's loose. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like I thrive. It's just like an open gym. You know what I mean? It's a showbiz open gym. Melo's there. I'm there. We're just hanging out, and it's a good time. And it's not just basketball. Like if you want to talk about pin downs and roll, screen, this, that, you might get a little bit of that. But JJ and LeBron are doing it and drinking wine while they're doing it. But for 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, come have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a late night show that happens to be hosted by your boy and Carmelo Anthony. You know what I'm saying? So it's hoops, it's culture, it's fun, it's laughs. If you watch an episode and you don't laugh once or hear a story that makes you be like, oh, wow, then you could write me and I will cash app you $5.
And if I may, on his behalf, as you guys continue to thank each other, I will just tell the people who might not know the history, because you and Deezus, an uncommonly comical chemistry duo.
Go look it up.
You were gonna have your run of late night options, and you did, and then things changed aggressively in the industry, and now you're making choices on behalf of your career that are smart to partner up with the people who are aligned with how you think about what individual brands should be in the next 10 years of whatever you do with your career, right? I don't mean to speak for you, but I've been impressed by it watching it from here, because you've gracefully made your way into a second career. It's hard to do when you've always been a part of a duo.
That's right, Dan. And you know ball and you know entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So you obviously know strategy as well, coming from, you know what it is. You know what it is to leave like a big machine where everything's cozy and they send you a car to pick you up, to go in and doing an indie. You know what I mean? And then having to look at spreadsheets for the first time in your life. So you know as well as anybody the freedom and the joy that comes with hanging out with your peoples. You know what I mean? It's a little extra work. You know what I mean? You got to crunch some numbers and do some things. But at the end of the day, the freedom that it affords you to create unencumbered is priceless, bro. So thank you. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that tunes in at 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Shout out to everybody that tunes into Victory Light, the more unhinged version of your boy. And, you know what I'm saying? We here, baby. We ain't going nowhere. I might have a third career, Dan. I might be an opera singer. You know what I'm saying? I saw Andrea Bocelli the other day, you know what I'm saying, getting a sandwich. And I was like, yo, what's up? Let's get into this opera shit.
Thank
was
you.
like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Why
I'm thinking me and
you
you on tour too, right? Correct? We're not losing that dream. Right?
Listen,
Yes.
I've heard
Me
your
and
alto.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mero. It's good seeing you, and I will urge the people again, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, because you're also supporting someone who is trying to do something that is difficult in self-employment, because he has learned through the Hollywood hard way, it might be really cool to just own all of my own shit. I think that would be fun, not to have to share my freedom with anybody.
That's crazy. What a concept, Dan. Yo, the brand comes straight to you and gives you the money instead of giving the network the money, and then the network gives you like a salary? Wow, wow. Who would have thunk?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're coming on tour with us.
Thank you. Yes,
I'll
go on the thank you tour. Let's go on the thank you tour together. Really, we get to do it this way. This is funny. All right.
Muchas gracias.
Yes, muchas. Mina, I'm genuinely torn on where to start with you, because I know Stugotz wants to talk to you about what the Texans are doing. I know everybody wants to hear from you on Stephon Diggs. I know that Stugotz wants to give you a bit of advice on how to correctly do the take game in April, because he has, you might think to yourself that you have a better take than any of his takes, but he has a top 5 list of quarterbacks who have the most pressure on them in April. And you can't do anything that good. And I'm just wondering if you'd like for us to unveil that, or just talk to you about how it is that I'm a left-wing Marxist because I have racist Jemele Hill on my show every week.
Let's hear the takes, or the quarterbacks.
Wow, good choice.
As much as I want to hear about how you're a racist?
A left-wing Marxist. No, Jemele.
Those right-wing Marxists?
Your microphone's not on.
Well, it's not my
Not
fault.
his fault. Yeah.
I can't turn it on, Dan.
As opposed to those right-wing Marxists is what your joke was, not on the microphone.
There's a spectrum. Let's hear Stugotz. I'm going to be the stand-in for the audience and choose the obvious, most enjoyable choice.
Is there an OLI, or is it just top 5?
Just a straight 5, Dan. Now, this is me and Tony. We were up, early in the morning. I mean,
4 a.m.?
Yeah, 4 a.m.
And
kicking people's ass.
Give an F.
I wanted a certain quarterback on this list. Tony didn't. Tony ended up winning that fight, and so we have a straight top 5 right here.
Now I want to guess who that quarterback is. Let me hear your 5, and then I'm going to guess who you left off.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think I'd like to hear Mina's 5, or does it ruin your 5 if Mina does anything around? Because I don't believe she can actually beat you at this game. I believe that this is a game that you have mastered and that Mina will lose, but I don't know how to best play it so that what are you making faces about, Mina? You think you can win this game? You think you've gotten strong enough to win this game?
I mean, I do get asked, we're joking about the very premise of this as though I don't get asked this exact question on First Take once a week. Who's under the most pressure?
In April?
All right, well, let's see whose list is better then. So do you think off the top of your head you can do a top 5 list, and we will do rival top 5 lists, most quarterbacks with the most pressure? You think
rather than a top 5, I'm going to try to guess who's on Stu's.
Okay. I like that. That's
okay. But you're not going to give it away, and so you're just going to write it down while it is that he's talking.
No. I'm going to do one. I'm going to go one for one. You tell me if he's on your list, okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay. So this is all practiced. My technique, my effort, my understanding of Stugotz's brain forged in the First Take fires, beginning quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
This is the part I need to explain to the audience, okay? Mina takes on great, difficult scaffolding challenges, whether they are crossword puzzles or the hardest of all the games. Figure out what Stugotz is going to do based on all the permutations involved here of in April, who does the pressure have to be on? And Mina, who's a preparation freak, is going to do this on the fly. You think you're good enough at the Stugotz language to be able to actually pull this off. You're welcoming this challenge.
I mean, I just know who the guys are. It's the same. Okay, Dak.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean,
okay.
Stu, is Dak on your list?
I know.
She's asking you, Stugotz.
He's saying no.
I'm saying no. Dak is not on my list. That's too obvious to put Dak on the list. He'll be on August.
Mina, you got to go to Stugotz 201. You went Stugotz 101.
We're in April.
Yes. She thinks she's good at this game, and I'm like, Mina, I don't care how good you are at these puzzles. This puzzle, this is the greatest in sports media. Like, you can't do this better than him.
Mina, this isn't freshman class. This is
Tony.
Dak is in a contract year. He and has been dinged for hitting his ceiling in the playoffs. How is Dak not on your? I'm actually interested in why you didn't put Dak on your list.
Because it's April, that's why.
I'm curious, what's the difference between pressure in April and August?
Oh, you don't get it. He doesn't get it.
Different kind of pressure.
Can you explain it to me? I'm asking.
Well, that's your answer. That's how you lose arguments in America today. Can you explain it to me? I'd like to learn. I'd like to understand, and that's the answer. It's April.
You know what I feel like?
It's April.
Did you guys watch the show Mindhunter on Netflix? It was unfortunately canceled. So good, right? And for the listeners who haven't watched it, it's about, I think it was the FBI, not the CIA, whatever. These detectives basically trying to get into the minds of serial killers by spending time with serial killers. I feel like now your omission of Dak Prescott, I feel like Mindhunter for
Child's
takes or
play.
something. Like I'm trying to get into Stugotz. Now, instead of thinking there's like a second layer to this game, because instead of thinking who is the quarterback who is actually under pressure, I have to think not only who does Stugotz think is the quarterback under pressure, but who does Stugotz think is the quarterback under pressure at this arbitrary moment in time.
That's right, April.
Yeah.
Mina has just entered the second level of Westworld. Right? Yeah. Like, at first, it's like, I'm just a cowboy. Should be. But I was like, no, there's another game within the game.
Exactly right.
That Anthony Hopkins built into this. And that's what you're searching for now.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. So I think I'll just go to the list because will you admit defeat now or do you want to keep trying to guess?
No, I'll throw another one out there. Kirk Cousins.
Nope.
Oh, wow. 0 for 2.
It's April.
That's more, it's more July, August.
August,
for Kirk.
yeah, September maybe.
So this is going to be really stupid, basically.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Mina.
What, Mina?
They got up at 4 in the
This is
morning.
what it always
I'm
is with
lashing
you
out.
condescending
You
liberals.
guys know I don't like losing. You guys don't know I don't like failing at tests. I didn't mean it. I was lashing out. I
was
just want to take
mean.
it back. It was.
Oh.
Jeez.
Oh,
See
Jeremy, get out.
that?
You know what? Mike Schur told me to kick you out every time you talk for a week. Just every single time. Mike Schur told me. Just don't let
he
you.
doesn't want to hear heat takes.
Don't
let's
let
be
you
honest.
say anything. He said every single time for a week. Mina,
All
do
right, Stu.
you want to take another
Let's do
guess,
it.
or you just
No,
want the
Take one more, Mina.
Okay. Russell Wilson.
Why is she so bad at this? Why is she she's so bad
Should
at
be on your list in April because
bad
he
at
is
tests.
actually in a quarterback competition at this more than any other quarterback. He should be on your list.
It's August. 30 million guaranteed.
You don't know anything, Mina. You're a fool. You don't know how to take tests. Number 5.
Bryce Young.
Why
Now
would it be
or
Bryce
never.
Young?
Now or never, Mina. The windows are short in the NFL. C.J. Stroud was selected ahead of him. Now or never. This year,
Yeah.
or it will never happen for Bryce.
That would make sense in August. It's April. Okay, fine.
Number 4.
Jordan Love. Welcome to the world of expectations.
Jeremy looks like a ghost.
Mina, why are you shocked? Why are you open-mouthed shocked?
Because Jordan Love is in a fantastic situation.
For now.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
A lot of pressure.
No one expected anything out of the Packers and Jordan Love last year. Now everyone is expecting them in a bad NFC to get to a Super Bowl. Pressure.
He almost got to the Super Bowl last year.
Well, he didn't.
Expectations, Dano.
Yep.
Number 3.
C.J. Stroud. Welcome to the world of expectations. No one expected
that's all
anything
he's got.
last year.
That's
Got
all
to
he-
the playoffs. He's great. Now they got him weapons. They got him Mixon. They got him Diggs. He already has Tank Dell. He's got Nico Collins. That team is really good. And Dalton Schultz. Expectations. Pressure.
So he won't have that in August?
Well,
Got it now.
Yeah, it's got it now.
It happened. It
Throwing
just
in
happened.
He might still have it in
enthusiastically
August.
Throwing
We don't
in
know.
and Dalton Schultz is really
Good
just,
tight end.
Do
It's
you-
an all-in move, Dano.
Yeah.
Everyone loves
It's an
saying
all-in
this.
move.
Aren't
It
they
is.
almost always all in when they got the quarterback who's great and cheap? Like you got
now you get it.
You got,
Now you get why April was such a
No.
massive month for
Thank
C.J.
you.
Stroud.
Right.
No, Mina, were you saying no?
Oh, no, I would say not every team has done it. I guess we can talk about this when we talk about the trade later. I would say like the Colts have a quarterback on a rookie contract and don't appear to be acting in a similar fashion. But C.J. Stroud is such a terrible answer. It's year 2. Even if he regresses a little bit, he still has 2 years left plus the 5th-year option on his rookie contract. Like the premise that he is under more pressure than the likes of Dak Prescott who's in his final year and is due for a big contract is whatever. Anyways,
it's my list.
No, Mina, this is
like
Mina,
fighting a ghost.
No, it's not like fighting a ghost. Mina, this is what I'd like to do, though. If I can bring out this part of your personality that others, I don't believe, have ever unearthed on television. Enraged Mina by Stugotz's general arbitrary stupidity.
But normally I make her happy.
I know, but she's been doing too much first take, and she's in the machine now. She's given her takes, and they have to have some honor. And
about that.
Who has the most pressure has to have more honor. Then you can just switch it from April to August based on how Stugotz feels like marking the calendar.
Here's the thing. Part of the reason I love Stu is I'm usually not like a relaxed person when it comes to opinions.
Right.
But you gamified it, or maybe I guess I gamified it, and the second something becomes a game or a competition, there's a part of my lizard brain that just starts beeping and activating. And the reason why I'm getting a little bit irritated by the total lack of logic behind this list, no offense.
He disrespects the top 5 list by giving it this little reason.
My list.
It's more about me than you, Stu. It's a reflection on me and my lack of self-esteem. So,
Mina, is that nature or nurture?
It's nature. It's pure nature.
Will you pass it along to your seed, to your progeny?
First of all, never call him my seed again.
What was that? Like, what is that?
Because I couldn't remember whether it was
instantly
a boy or a girl.
awkward when you did that.
Wow. So you wait a minute.
Progeny.
You did the move. Wait a minute. You did the move to a baby that I do to people whose names I can't recognize and they expect me to know them. I call them Chief.
Or Chief's a good one.
Or handsome.
Or you should use monstruo.
Boss.
Handsome.
Yes.
Estrella.
Do you expect to pass it on to your chief?
But seed?
Little fella. You call him little fella.
Little fella?
He's a big fella. No, I'm actually very uncompetitive with like milestones and is he doing, when people ask, is he crawling? Is he sitting upright for more than 15 seconds? I'm not super worried about that stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
This
is my Virgo-ness. All of my control freak and competitive nature the aspects of my personality are all only about myself. So Stu, please keep going with your excellent list. My commentary on it is not a reflection on the quality of the list or the integrity of your choices, but rather my own frustration with my inability to predict them.
Number 2.
Caleb Williams. Welcome to the Windy City. They have built a team for you. You don't want to be there. You want nothing to do with that organization. They have a very, very short leash. Caleb Williams, number 2 on my list of top 5 quarterbacks who have the most amount of pressure in April.
Also, by the way, because the Bears don't ever have good quarterbacks.
Right.
Welcome to the world of expectations.
Thank you, Dan.
Another one.
Thank you. I mean, you get the
He
game.
had plenty of them last year, but okay.
Yep.
Not a bad choice. I actually agree with that.
How about that? See?
Part because not just the number 1 overall pick, but I think a lot of people, myself included, agree that he's being set up to succeed, which adds to the pressure, right?
Yep.
So,
Well
good choice.
done. Thank you.
Number 1.
Aaron Rodgers. Show me something. Your hall pass is up. You had it for a year. It's up. Now show me something. Don't show me the MVPs you won in Green Bay. Show me something with the New York Jets. That's what I want to see. Pressure is on. And Mina, I have a problem. I think the Jets are going to be good.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Don't do this to yourself, Stu.
I know. It's early. It's April.
I care about you.
I know. Bills are down. Dolphins haven't made many changes. They've lost some guys on defense. The Patriots are the worst team in the NFL.
Well, Stugotz, let me ask you this. You said he don't show me your MVPs from Green Bay. What if he shows you his VPs from Washington, D.C.?
Stu?
I was waiting for that.
You guys are
Oh, boy.
That's fair with Aaron, right?
Yeah, I think it's totally fair. Especially because that roster is super. It's like as all in gets, right? You got a bunch of veterans who have injury history, who are good, but have an injury history. 1-year deals, for the likes of Mike Williams and Tyron Smith. They are definitely situated to win now. And so he has to meet the moment. And obviously he's coming back from this horrible, gruesome injury.
Right.
I loved
Show me something.
A few months ago, Dominique introduced me to something I did not know existed, which is like a $400 million tin of money for performance-based overachievement or underachievement. And I read the list, and Aaron Rodgers had the lowest payment, but I didn't even of $81. But I didn't even know, Mina, that there was actually some sort of salary adjuster there that had been collectively bargained, where these guys can actually make decent money if they vastly outperform their contracts.
Yeah, Dominique actually brought it up in the context last year of the discussion about how to pay running backs, which I thought was really smart of him. Obviously, Dominique thinks a lot about these things. It is something like it isn't really talked about a lot or super well understood, but for guys on rookie contracts in particular, it's pretty meaningful money. Purdy was brought up, right? I'm sure it was at the top. I don't know if he was the top, earning over $700,000. Like, that's a lot to him based on his salary. As far as Rodgers goes, the $81, I mean, do you think they're actually going to write him a check? It's like when you get a class action check for 10 cents and you have that debate over whether or not to act. Is it worth my time?
I just thought it was a funny reminder, right? I thought it was a funny, pinging, stinging reminder for Aaron Rodgers to check through his finances and just see, like, oh, paid more poorly for my performance than anyone in the league.
Yeah,
$81.
Like
that's not that
$20
burns.
a play.
Like, that's
Not bad.
$20 a play.
This interview with Mina Kimes is presented by LinkedIn Jobs.
That was excellently done, the way that you snuck that in there. Can we rapid fire through 3 minutes of football with you? Are you ready to do this fast?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the Diggs trade, or do you want to do
Yes,
this?
I wanted to do Diggs first because that is not, it would appear that's not salary cap, dead money. Everyone's a finance expert. You tell me. It feels like, oh, the relationship was bad there, just like Stephen A. Smith said it was.
I think it's really interesting from the Bills side. From the Texans side, you get it. It's pretty obvious. You don't even have to really, they're all in. It's a great wide receiver trio. There's a little bit of risk to it because of Diggs' age and his performance last year, which kind of gets to the Bills side. But yeah, I've seen it compared to what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill, right? Where they decided to trade Hill to Miami and move on because they wanted to both keep the window open for Mahomes, but also extend it by getting younger on defense.
Faster.
And they had a lot of, no. And they had a lot of faith in Mahomes' ability to play with a somewhat limited set of wide receivers. And people are asking, the same thing applied to Buffalo, even though they don't have a Travis Kelce in Buffalo. But I would say it's not really the same thing because when you traded Tyreek Hill, not only did you get significantly more in return, right? That was also in part because Tyreek Hill wanted that monster contract extension, which is what he got from Miami. Not the case with Stephon Diggs. They already paid him. And as you said, they absorbed this massive cap hit of $30 million. I think it was $31 million, which is the most ever for a wide receiver in terms of dead cap hit, which suggests that it's not similar to the Hill trade because it's not about paying him, not about that mammoth return. They really did not want him on his football team. So is it about football? Well, in the last 8 games of the previous season, he averaged just over 43 yards per game, under 5 targets. He was kind of being phased out of the offense. So certainly that plays into things. He is 31 years old. I still think he's a really good wide receiver, but his game is on the decline. But to me, if you're taking that kind of cap hit, especially if you're a team that is supposed to compete in the Super Bowl in the present tense, it has to be about more than football.
Pop goes the weasel.
I'm really digging that trade.
Get out.
Oh, God.
Get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Mina, you want to do this because it's so interesting, the mechanics of this. Diggs made Josh Allen matter from where I was looking. Obviously, his growth had more to do with a lot of things than just that. But is Diggs' I don't know, was it the last act of his career to drop the pass that would have ended up saving all of everybody there? Because, I mean, that's a championship-worthy team.
Yeah, I don't think that was his last act, but it is certainly something that will be remembered. You don't get Josh Allen without this version of Josh Allen without Stephon Diggs early in his career. That trade was super astute on the part. Obviously, it worked out for Minnesota as well because they drafted Justin Jefferson. But for the Bills, it was so integral to Josh Allen's development, which is something to keep in mind as we consider these young rookie quarterbacks coming to the NFL. How meaningful it is to have not just a number one wide receiver, but a number one wide receiver like Stephon Diggs, who's this great route runner. He's so good at getting open. He's got really good hands. But I do think, there are legitimate questions about his performance at the end of his time in Buffalo and how important he was to the offense. Josh Allen he doesn't need him anymore in the sense that like he doesn't need Stephon Diggs in particular, but he does need someone, and God knows they don't have anyone right now. Are you dancing? Are you? If there's a sound effect going on, I can't hear it, and all I see is Dan like rhythmically bobbing his head in silence. Oh, now I hear it. This whole time has there been music playing while I was talking because I didn't hear it, and so. I actually kind of like doing it without the music because I didn't feel like the pressure.
You said no to me when I asked you to speed it up. You're still furious because you lost the quiz.
Pretty quickly.
The thing that I saw last night that made me come in, Jeremy Taché, Emmy award-winning Heat prodigy, was caught last night in a moment that I'd like to put up on the screen. I don't know who caught this photograph. I don't know where this was put. I'm hoping it was put on the broadcast. Jimmy Butler is shooting a shot, and behind him, what you will see...
Where's Waldo?
What you will see behind him, and I swear, my God, if this had happened to me, Jeremy, what the internet would do to me if I was behind Jimmy Butler licking my fingers because of something I had just eaten with half of my finger in my mouth because I'm clearly eating something in a way that is wildly unprofessional, is a bit disgusting. Your fingers look extra fat. Yep.
Whoa. I was
God.
Fine with all of it until you called
back.
my fingers fat.
Jeremy,
you sit back.
Jeremy, you're going to have to sit this out. Pretend there's a lot in your mouth, okay?
Wow.
And be quiet for a while because this picture, and good Lord, Jessica enjoyed the horror of this. Explain to me, Jessica, what washed over you when you saw, in a moment of really profound internet disgrace, Jeremy eating...
Okay, well, let's start from the beginning. So the Heat posted this after their brutal home loss to the Sixers. I mean, the playoffs started, right? And this was a playoff L. And they posted this with one of the sad emoji, but the one with the extra big pouty face. And so I retweeted it, and I was like, oh man, that's a fun emoji for the Heat.
Oh, but you hadn't seen at that point. You hadn't seen this.
And then someone replied and was like, "Is that Jeremy?" And I lost my mind. I'm like, adding insult to injury. Jeremy's probably devastated about the Heat playing the worst fourth quarter of the season against the Sixers with Embiid back, losing by 4 points at home in the playoffs, and the Knicks won last night. I mean, it couldn't have been a worse night for Heat fans, and then this happened.
I would like everyone to sit out this question who knows the actual answer because it was talked about. I don't know the answer. I want people to guess what he was eating based on what it is that you're seeing in a photograph there that would require him. Let me see it again here. It's a single finger that he has in his mouth, right? It's the index finger.
But hey, can I dissect this a little bit? This is my specialty right here.
Yes.
If you're doing one finger, you have a fist closed. This man we just caught him at that finger. He was cleaning all those bad boys. I know that 5 finger sprawled out. Yeah. That is a mid. He's just going through the fingers right there. We caught him on the pointer.
He's got him already lined up like an assembly line. Every time he kind of flips it and sucks off another one.
It's got to be popcorn.
Jeremy, we will get to you in a second because I have an assortment of questions for you.
Now, So I don't know what the answer is, but I will soften it up by saying yesterday the media room dining was burgers and hot dogs and mac and cheese.
No, this is late in the game. I haven't eaten since 2 p.m. I'm about to die if I don't eat something. I know I know this. It's late in the game. This is not a full meal. This is a snack of some sort.
Here's what you've got wrong, and this I've got some expertise in. That's comfort eating because of that fourth quarter. Like, what is happening there is not that he hasn't eaten since 2
Ice
p.m.
cream?
It's that the Heat have devoured his insides, and they're playing poorly. And, the Sixers are healthy again, and that's what they look like when
But he's
Embiid
got to
comes
go on
back.
TV after.
Here's my question, though. Was he doing the thing where you're licking something off your fingers, or when there's an extra cheesy buildup, perhaps, from a Cheeto Puff, and you got to use the teeth?
Or is he
You
cleaning
got to
a
use
finger?
the teeth to kind of scrape it off.
Are you cleaning the finger here?
That's not a scrape. Look at those lips.
That's not a scrape.
It could be the end of a scrape, though. It could be
He is cleaning the out of that finger right there.
Look at those lips.
He's like 2 knuckles deep.
He is
Clean as a whistle.
He is one knuckle deep, but you can
Just
see
a funny phrase.
he's approaching. No, but he's approaching the second knuckle. Like it is
halfway there.
And he can object to the fingers being fat. He can object to that. But
the camera adds 5 pounds.
This is an unflattering photo. How many
Telephoto lens, Dan.
How many cameras did he eat?
Oh wow.
Jeremy, what was it?
No.
First of all, was it a scrape?
I'm saying popcorn. Any other guesses?
Hold on. Jeremy, first answer the question of, is that the fourth finger to have ended up in the mouth? And we caught that. That action photograph was late. Yes or no? And do not answer dishonestly.
Just yes or no.
Probably yes.
Okay.
Did you get all 5 of the all 4 of the fingers and the thumb?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
It's generally a 4-finger cleaning because you rarely touch with the pinky.
The pinky.
The answer is no.
Usually you grab stuff with here, and it's rare you're
2
involving
fingers.
the pinky.
Was it a scrape?
It was a scrape.
Ooh, a pinky, that gives off chip.
I know a scrape when I see
If
one.
it's only 2 fingers, that gives off a chip hold.
If it's a scrape, I'm going back to the mac and cheese.
If it's every finger, it's popcorn. You know how we know we go in there with all fingers. Whereas a chip, I can go 2
You
fingers.
gotta lick the whole hand if it's popcorn.
Does anyone have any other guesses other than popcorn?
I already know what it was.
Barbecue chips.
Barbecue, you have the flavor. Okay.
Tony, what are you laughing about?
The shot of me licking my hand.
It was nasty.
No, it's very disgusting. My palms are sweaty from how disgusting this is because I hate putting my fingers in my mouth, especially like
this
scraping whatever's on my fingers into my
It is
teeth.
disgusting to do that at a basketball arena.
Really, really disgusting when
And
you're
then you
shaking
have to touch
hands,
a
kissing
mic?
babies.
All right, I want to
whatever.
come.
Hold on. I wasn't done.
Oh, okay.
Cartoonishly, what I have Jeremy doing is having a single hot dog, just like a cartoon. You just caught him at the end where you just finished putting it in his mouth.
Eating it so fast that the ketchup comes off it, and he's just
like,
making sure that the ketchup stays in at the end because
it's just like one shot of a hot dog down his gully, like
that's the end right there.
He just pushed
like if we
it
had
in.
an X-ray, we'd see the rest of the hot dog.
If the finger wasn't there, what would leak out is a couple of drops of ketchup that he hadn't just kept in. With
Or the back end of the dog. He's like,
he was plugging a hole. All right, Jeremy, I now have a number of different questions for you, and I ask you for the first time in your life to be efficient with the answers.
Yes or no's? Just get yes.
It will be some yes or no questions, but first I want to ask, when in the game was this?
Probably either late third or early fourth quarter.
Is this
snack time?
Is this a habit of yours when it comes to eating? Is this regularly when you eat, or have you been caught in a particularly inopportune moment?
That is normally when I will eat some food, yes.
Do you often eat
You're
and
on
then
trial right now.
stick your fingers? It's a deposition. That is correct. Do you often stick your fingers? I want to see what the odds are of you being caught in this compromising a position. So how often and what foods would you normally be eating when you would do something like this?
I changed my routine last night. Normally, I would be eating pretzels. I was not eating pretzels.
There we go. So we can strike pretzels off the list.
Is this a sauce or a powder that is being...
I'm not going to be deposed.
It's a powder. So are you thinking Cheetos, like something Cheetos related? It's
Do
a
they
powder.
have those at the Kasaya Center?
Popcorn? Popcorn's not going to have a powder
Well,
on
no,
it.
they do have the little seasoning thing at the Heat Arena. They've got like a seasoning little tube.
Telling you guys, don't sleep on the sprawled fingers here.
White cheddar popcorn leaves you with a bit of that residue in your hand.
This reads popcorn. I'm telling you, the fingers spread out. He's going through
But he said it's a scrape.
And he said it's only a couple of fingers.
I don't believe him.
Oh.
I know that. I
don't
know
believe
that.
him.
I see that. That is a popcorn hand right there. That
You're
is a
gonna
man-
hold him in contempt of
That is
court?
a man
Hold
working
on.
his way down the hand. I mean, look at that thing.
Hold
you
on,
don't just
Chris.
do this and put one finger in.
Chris, hold on. Permission to treat the witnesses hostile. Yes? Okay, now, Chris, go after him.
Sustained.
It's bullshit, dude. It's popcorn. Clearly popcorn. All 5 fingers. You're clearly there going down the line. You did the thumb right before this. That would have been a worse look, I think, the thumb.
I have a number of questions, please, okay? I understand that you all want to get in on the fun here, but I don't want this to disappear just yet. The number of fingers, Jeremy, that were licked here were, give me a number.
2 to 3.
Oh, he's already cracking. I'm
All right.
telling you, this was all 5.
Did you, with that finger where it's being caught, did you also scrape around the edges of your gums?
No, absolutely not.
A gummy.
Absolutely not.
That's what they call a gummy.
I want to defend Jeremy. All of us in our private moments, all of us in our private moments do what Jeremy does.
I don't know about that.
I don't like licking my fingers, like food off my fingers.
I bite my
my
nails,
fingers have
so
to be
this is
so clean.
Yeah, I already bite my nails, so this is like it's not that different.
I have a couple of friends, believe it or not, who have said to me that they rarely get sick because they are so vigilant about never putting their
Guess
hands
who's here all the time?
in
Guess who's
their
never sick?
Mouth.
Me.
We've had a lot of sickness this week. You were what degree of mortified by everything that happened here, Jeremy? Because this is an inopportune time for you to be caught as a professional. You don't have a lot of public shame, I don't think, on your...
Probably none.
We're going to open up the Cuervo Club here in a second for the weekend. But before we do so, and I'm sorry to continue to do this, but I'm also sorry that we keep having people around here who have either influenced our show or been on our show die. And Ron Brewer yesterday, a name that will mean not very much to many of you outside of South Florida, but to a certain number of you in South Florida. You remember that Paul and Ron were pioneers in the local South Florida market, and he was basically Stugotz before Stugotz in how it is that we were absorbing local entertainment at a different time. I told you earlier in today's show that I did something super rare for me, and I noticed it yesterday in the changing of my listening habits, where I was trying to listen to a Heat game on AM radio late at night, and there was a lot of static in what it is I was consuming. The radio signal was not very strong trying to listen to a basketball game on AM radio. But if you are of a time in South Florida, you remember when Ron Brewer and Paul Castronovo were changing the way that radio was done in South Florida. And just wanted, before I left here today for the weekend, to offer my condolences to Paul and all of the people in South Florida who cared a great deal about Ron Brewer, because he very much was a Stugotz-like character on that show in supporting everything they were doing in hijinks morning radio to change how some things were done in South Florida and how people listened and consumed things.
It was the first radio show I ever knew. My parents, there weren't really any sports shows my parents were really into when I was growing up. It was my mom always listening to Paul and Young Ron, and it was just always having fun, wacky stuff.
They weren't sports, though. They were a morning...
They would have sports guys on, but yeah, it was just a variety show, and they were really funny.
One of the biggest shows in the history of South Florida, and I just didn't want to leave today without remembering his impact and their impact on the market. Before we get to the club, though, Jessica has been Eclipse obsessed for reasons I'm not particularly understanding. I did not know that you were an Eclipse obsessed person until this week.
Oh my God. The eclipse is on Monday. It's going over the part of the United States that's nowhere near Miami, and I am devastated. It's honestly, Lucy might be able to see like total eclipse from Cleveland because it's going very close to Cleveland. She's going to be there for the Final Four and the national championship game, I'm assuming. And we're getting no eclipse down here. It's bullshit. I Googled it, and it says that the optimal viewing time in Miami on Monday is 3:01 p.m., and obscuration would be at 46%. That sounds like nothing to me. That sounds like, what's the point?
So the sun is passing right by Cleveland. I don't get how that works. So the moon and the sun are passing by Cleveland, but not here, even though they're much bigger.
Yes, that's correct.
I see it every day. It comes and goes.
I don't think that's how it's working. I don't think the sun is visiting Cleveland.
Do you guys remember the eclipse in 2017 or 2018?
I do. I stared right into it.
Me too. I don't like this. I think they're overrated, these things, because it just makes me want to go outside and do something that's harmful to my eyes. It's like, I don't want this.
Well, don't look at it.
It's so hard to be like, hey, there's something out there, don't stare at it. You realize I want to, like, when you say don't stare, like, just don't talk about the eclipse, okay? I never go outside and go, all right, let me look right at the sun today. But if you say, yo, there's some crazy going on outside with the sun, but don't look at it.
The Trump thing is how I looked during the eclipse, because I was just looking at it like normal.
Did it come over Miami that time? Because I feel like I
was in Connecticut.
That was
okay,
me,
yeah,
by
I
the
was
way.
in New York.
In 2017, I was Trump. That was me.
It was in Cleveland is where it was. Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Do you think the sun ever visits Cleveland? Because I feel like Cleveland is always in a state of eclipse.
Well, there might be a lot of cloud cover on Monday because of the weather patterns being crappy, and people are starting all these conspiracy theories. It's very silly. But yes, this is the path, Tony. So this is where it's going to be like the path of totality, it's called. So these people are going to get the full eclipse, and it's going right over Cleveland, pretty close to Pittsburgh, and then it's going all the way down through Texas, nowhere near Miami. There, it's on the screen right now. Nowhere near Miami. I know people that are going like out of town to see it. Like they're going to like New Hampshire or Texas or Southern Illinois for a few hours on Monday just so they can see the
total
total
So the sun's
eclipse.
making a left?
Yeah.
They're showing a screen right here.
Hanging a Louis. Yeah.
This is weird. I'm with Tony.
So the sun is traveling on that axis around the world, but like are other places going to see it too?
The path of totality sounds like a Jason Statham movie.
Oh, Liam Neeson really good.
Path of Totality.
That would be tremendous. Oh, hold on a second. They just zoomed out. So the other part of the world isn't going to see it?
Are we sure this isn't a hurricane? This looks like hurricanes.
Okay, we've got some real expertise in the room.
It stops in the middle of the ocean,
Do you know
Dan.
what an eclipse is?
Miami is being affected by it, and that the Marlins game in New York has been moved from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. on that day so that they can avoid playing in the middle of an eclipse. I mean, they're going to lose
Can you
the game,
imagine how many spectators are just going to look straight up if they're outside at a Yankees game and it gets dark out?
Might help the Marlins.
You do have
shadows.
an eclipse problem, though, with the sunlight and your eyes on fly balls. Like, you don't.
And she's my glove.
You got to wear the sunglasses.
Might give them an advantage.
You guys should seriously order. You can make it like out of a box. That's what we did in 2018, I think it was. And
What am I,
everyone,
5 years old making stuff out of boxes? Give me a break. I'll look at it just right in the sky.
Okay. Well, you're literally going to blind yourself.
Put some
like, this is
sunglasses
not like
on,
a
you'll be fine.
negotiable.
I got news for you. I looked in 2017. My eyes are fine.
You guys mentioned.
I do not. Don't look though. By the way, I don't want anyone to go blind and then like sue us. But I did it.
Oh, God.
Little warning you giving the people.
That was such a bad
that was-
warning.
You think you're a big influencer there that you're going to. You need to.
I did it and I was fine.
Avoid the liabilities.
I went for the joke, and then I was worried about the company, and I was like, I don't want someone suing us. I was like,
That's
just
a good
so-
executive producer.
I mean, I'm just like, just in case anyone is out there, like, you know
Or
what?
Never just say it.
Yeah.
Or never say the thing.
It was funny though.
Was it?
I did it. My eyes are fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, you did it again. Now, do you want to apologize again? Do you want to tell the listeners you shouldn't do that because
The apology covers both of those.
I can't wait for Monday. I'm so excited. It's going to be so cool.
Lucy is going to return, one would assume, this time with something from where it is that she travels to. But she didn't sound great the last time we played the sound of her.
I don't recommend COVID. It's still got hands in 2024.
That doesn't look like Lucy. Never mind sound. When I conjure the image of who that person is, it's not a sick woman. It's a very old woman.
I don't recommend COVID. It's still got hands in 2024.
We should have made her say, "Holy crap, Jessica."
That woman is 65 and has been to every Bama football game for the last 42
I
years.
don't recommend COVID. It's still got hands in 2024.
You had her as pal.
That's exactly it. You got it. That's exactly who I'm picturing.
R.I.P. to Phyllis, I believe.
You guys mentioned the New York Post earlier and
Somber segment today.
sunglasses. I'm going to try and lighten it up here before we open up the Cuervo Club. But
Can't do that if you have sunglasses on.
I will tell you that one of my favorite New York Post sports things ever was the Mets were in last place. They had a very expensive team. Vince Coleman was their left fielder. He was very unpopular. He was very stylish. He lost a fly ball in the sun during a game to end a game that they lost. It was the costly error, and he lost it in the sun because the sunglasses that he should have had on his eyes were instead on his hat because he was looking cool. And you say to yourself, that's funny enough as it is. But what could be funnier than that? The photograph the New York Post got to put next to it from that night of Vince Coleman in the nightclub with his sunglasses on. Let's open up the Cuervo Club.
That's right. The Cuervo Club is brought to you by Cuervo. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila.
Who is the first sound in the club?
You gotta go pee-pee. You gotta go pee-pee.
Samson is somehow climbing in the business, even though he shouldn't be. Sitting in Rich Eisen's chair. Who else is in the club?
Grab his twist it!
Context, please?
No, I
Play it one more
prefer no
time.
context.
Play it one more time.
Twist it!
Oh, Dan, we were talking about, you've been to UFC fights. People want to see people grab their and twist it.
Who else is in the club?
Shooting blanks.
Weird week.
That is Greg Cody for some reason talking about, I'm assuming, sperm.
Shooting blanks.
Was it?
That was post-twist.
It's been a long week.
Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
Thank you.
We missed LeVar Ball this week and then
Grab
remembered.
the twist and then the blank comes. That's what MMA.
No,
That's what they
no,
do in MMA.
I think when you damage the situation when you twist it and then you shoot blank.
Grab his twist it!
Yeah.
Who else is in the club?
I don't want to hit this button. DraftKings. DraftKings. My tongue was heavy on Monday. DraftKings.
I've said it 1,000 times to my wife. She's like, why do you keep saying it? I'm like, Chris Cody, DraftKings.
My weenus is very dry.
You need to moisturize that.
I let Roy pinch my weenus this week. You can't feel anything on your weenus.
I am hearing that phrase for the first time. I've never heard the weenus before.
Skin of your elbow.
Did you not go to middle school?
It's
The
like
weenus.
if you go elbow straight, it's
That
like
was
that
the
dead
70s.
skin in your elbow.
I'm the weirdo for not having known what that phrase is.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Do you know what a renus is?
Weenus.
Weenus, W.
is.
That's going to next week's club.
Eating W's.
Who else is in the club?
My weenus is very dry.
We already said that.
Magic! Hee-hee!
Amin made Magic Johnson Michael Jackson for some reason. We don't know
Oh,
why.
Magic! Hee-hee!
Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
My name is
Yeah.
Tim Linderman, and I hate children.
Rammstein fan.
He does more voices than anyone. In the history of our show, no one does more voices than Amin.
My name is
Yeah.
Tim Linderman, and I hate children.
Who else is in the Cuervo Club?
Someone say conservative entity?
The fifth Zagaki. Female Zagaki.
Someone say conservative entity?
I need this character to get bigger. Who else is in the club?
What fanatics and fanatics and
We have to have Caitlin Clark in there somewhere.
Who else is in the club?
He's getting fouled. He's getting fouled. He's getting fouled.
One more sound for the Cuervo Club.
My name is
Yeah.
Tim Linderman,
No.
and I hate children.